Hey guys, welcome back to Together We Are Thursdays. I think we've got all of the things worked out regarding vlogging days and how we rotate the schedule and everything, so hopefully there won't be any more glitches for you guys. This week, MeSoAbroad asks, talk about hitting rock bottom. What was that like for you? And sharing about that. And then also the question being, when did you realize you had an AD? It's interesting because whenever I spend a significant amount of time looking back on my life, I find or recall more and more information. The earliest, the tendencies were there all my life, I think. When did I first become aware of it? Yeah, it was pretty much a solo journey of discovery, and honestly, I credit internet support for the majority of my awareness. I had become interested in researching eating disorders after learning that two of my friends were sick. Some of that knowledge allowed me to come to terms with some things about myself that weren't necessarily readily knowable at the time. So that's kind of like, when did I first know? I mean, my first memory of a disordered thought, I was young. I mean, I was in elementary school. I remember just growing up, there was a lot of bad shit going on, and yeah, it's such a long story. But basically, most of my awareness has come since leaving university. This journey is rarely, if ever, a linear one. And sometimes you do better, sometimes you do worse. I often say, it's you're walking a thin line. You're walking this thin red line that separates sanity from insanity, safety from lack thereof. That point is different for each of us, and what constitutes crossing the line may be different each time for each of us. But the longer you live with this, the more you come to understand different states of being and different ways of coping and things to be careful of. My day-to-day goal is remaining on the safe, sane side of that thin red line. That when you have succumbed to this delusion that you aren't as sick as people think you are, you aren't as thin as people think you are, you really believe that, and that delusion is so frighteningly powerful. Rock bottom is when you know there are things you have to do and you absolutely cannot find the will to do them. And at that point, making the decision to choose life is so hard. It is so hard, but it is possible. And if it weren't possible, I wouldn't be making this video right now. When you're that deep, you will have to see those glimpses. And we all have those glimpses, okay? There will be moments of lucidity where your authentic self will break through the bullshit, and you will see yourself as others see you, or recognize, these moments of clarity and sanity do happen. And the AD reflex is going to be bury it, avoid it, don't think about it, move on, engage in pathology, and just stay immersed because that's what's most comfortable. Cling to those moments when you have lucidity and clarity write about it, talk about it, sear that knowledge into your mind. Those moments will help you when you go to start doing the fighting work of reclaiming yourself and rejecting the ED voice. We all have those moments, and they're really critical. I wish so much that there was some magic thing, but there isn't. You know, love and support, tenacity, refusing to accept that things can never be better. If you cannot will yourself on your own to make a change, it can be a profound relief to commute that responsibility to someone else. The thing is, the person who assumes that role has to be able to have significant enough influence or ability to deflect manipulation, to genuinely, get the upper hand in a situation. And that's a tough one because there's so much fierce control issues and fears about allowing anybody any foothold in your life when you're that sick. But many patients will talk about despising treatment, but also feeling a great relief, especially like going inpatient, because the ED was no longer in control. At that point, they had no choice and they had to eat as per the treatment protocols. And having that autonomy, pathologic autonomy taken away can be, the final thing that will break through and help someone climb out. Breaking the ED's chokehold on you is critical for survival. If you're to the point where you honestly do not feel like you can help yourself, as terrifying and horrifying as it is, find somebody who can help. Recognize that your ED has one goal, and that is to kill you. And that very few people can get out on their own. Lastly, but not least, you are not alone. And if you need someone to talk to, we're here for you. That's why each of us is on this channel, reaching out and making videos and speaking our hearts and minds, because we know the isolated hell that the majority of people with EDs go through. We've been there and don't want you to be alone. Just know there's somebody out there who really does care about you, and that you are worth it. You are worth it. And it does get better. It won't always be the nightmare that it is if you're immersed really badly, It does get better. And little Eileen's in here if you've been hearing little noises. So, Eileen, who sent some puggy loves? Puggy loves! Tilty-headed puggy loves! Oh, did you love each other, people? Watch our videos. Yeah, puggy loves. Tilty-headed puggy loves from Eileen. Alright, guys. Much love. Be well. You're not alone. See you next week.